Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm really good.
You know, a lot of first responders and all of us in general are trained and conditioned to just go hard, stay sharp, always be ready. And something really important is to understand that the power move is actually understanding the importance of doing nothing at all.
Having a balance with that is super important, and being able to just shut down and not have a worry in the world and just kind of veg out, whether it's with a hobby or whatever it may be. It's important to get that like recharging of your batteries.
One of my biggest discipline practices is this very thing. And I'm going to go over in, full vulnerability, some of the things that I struggle with when it comes to actually being able to rest and have downtime. And one of them is that I feel super restless and anxious when I'm doing something that is nothing, like sitting and watching a movie, for example.
Yeah, and it's being able to train yourself to make that okay. It's being uncomfortable and being able to push yourself to, just like you would if there's chores around the house that you know you need to get done and you're procrastinating on it. The opposite's true when there's nothing to do and you just need to recharge those batteries.
Yeah, and let's say that you finally get a day off, but then you immediately fill it with tasks that you need to do. You never truly recharge either mentally or physically. And another thing too is that sometimes we might equate rest with laziness or weakness, and I know I'm definitely guilty of this. And then you might push through the exhaustion instead of taking a break. Yesterday I had told you, Clint, that I was upstairs and I'm in the middle of working, and it got to the point where I could literally have closed my eyes and fallen asleep if I had given myself permission to. And I was like, I can't be on camera. I can't film. I can't do anything else right now. So I packed up all my things and I went downstairs and I continued working, but there's a different element. A lot of people don't really realize that there's a lot of mental focus that's required to be on camera, especially when you're doing it for hours on end. I think I'm on camera something like 21 hours to 25 hours a week. And it's exhausting. It's really exhausting because sometimes you don't get things perfect. Sometimes you make mistakes. There's a lot of editing that goes into play. You're focusing on you. You're focusing on your background. Like you're focusing on the things that you're supposed to be saying. And it's a lot different than me taking all my stuff, going downstairs and having my laptop on my lap, laying there with my dog and doing just computer work.
Yeah, being able to recognize the mental drain of having, like you said, is being on camera and giving yourself permission on the back end to say, you know what, it's enough for today. I'm going to take a break. And it's listening to your body signs and saying, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, whatever it may be, is having that pause moment and just taking that time for yourself and just to relax. Yeah,
and I think too, when we try to push through that type of exhaustion, sometimes we don't have a choice, right? That is true. However, I'm talking about on a habitual routine. You can increase burnout, injury, even emotional reactivity time, especially if you're an officer.
Yeah, being able to create that divide for yourself. And just remember, it's not saying that you need this all the time, or that's how you should be. You should come home and just veg out for days on end, because that can lead to a whole other laundry list of issues. But ultimately, it's being able to have a balance of work and just relaxation.
It's crazy what happens to you physically when you're under stress all of the time. And when I worked for someone else, I used to have the craziest things happen to me. And one of the biggest things is that I would have these episodes to where I thought like maybe I'm diabetic or something, and I would get so dizzy randomly. I would be the person that like every single time I would stand up after sitting for a long period of time, I would get dizzy. I had a lot of different spells of vertigo happening. My stomach was always upset. Like I had so many things happening. And this was like I worked for the devil, literally. And I never understood how bad it was because I got so conditioned to that bad behavior. And it wasn't until after that and all of that stress, like in an instant, was completely gone. It was like somebody getting married and then going through the threshold with your husband, leaving that back door of that office that day. It was so monumental, like knowing I am never coming back here again. I am never going to see that person's face again. And to be honest, like I've hardly had her cross my mind since. And something that I thought was such a big deal in my life for 14 years, in an instant disappeared. And then all of those other ailments also disappeared. And I'm saying that because chronic stress is something that can definitely compromise your immune function, and all the more reason why it's important to make sure that when your body is home, that your brain has ways to be able to shut down that go mode.
Yeah, the physiological impact that stress has on our bodies, and it's hard to even recognize it when you're in it, because when you just think, oh, well, I'm going through something medically, or this is happening to me right now, and I just have to deal with it, or there's medication to help solve it. Well, look at the underlying problems of what may be causing it, and it could be a true health condition, and that's why I would say, consult your medical professional. But at the same time, it could be a huge factor if you're stressed a lot and you have a lot going on.
There are ways for us to embrace this tactical recovery as a discipline. And one of the things for me is to reframe rest as like strategic preparation and not indulgence. It has taken me a long time, and I still struggle with that. It does feel like an indulgence to me to sit down and watch a movie, for example. But when we understand that we're actually loading and not lagging during that time, then it can completely change how we view that downtime.
Yeah, and something that I've recognized recently is I value my sleep. Like I truly value my sleep and good sleep on a regular basis. There's going to be times where like I have to work a long shift coming up, and that's okay. Like I've brainstormed my whole mindset of, okay, well, I'm going to get a little bit less than normal sleep. But if you start prioritizing your sleep and your rest and being able to have a balance between everything else you have going on, you just start feeling so much better.
Yeah, I actually have that listed here to use sleep as a performance tool. I highly encourage everybody to get an Oura Ring. I don't care what other devices are out there. This is the one thing that I couldn't live without. Like this morning, for example, my sleep resiliency is at 95%. And I'm like, wow, like I haven't seen that in such a long time. Your schedule's so fucked up right now that it's made my sleep schedule so fucked up. And so we've had these bouts of like 9 to 10 hours of sleep in the past week. I don't know how things have worked out that way, but they just have. And I think that it is so important to have something like an Oura because you can track things. And when you can track things, then you can protect it. And when that's important to you, then that means that you're going to prioritize it. And that means doing anything necessary in order to make sure that you are getting that sleep.
Yeah, being able to recognize it and base your rest and your life around, recharging your batteries is super important, because if you feel like crap all the time, then who are you to go out and provide that quality service when you're fully rested and you can be a champion for whoever else you need to?
Yeah. And so I made mention of the doctor that I worked for, and it was, She had told us that because we work in an office that like, despite what California says legally, it doesn't matter because we work in an office. We didn't need to take breaks. Like basically go into the break room and like grab a snack if you need a snack, but there was no actual downtime. And, you know, my phone was constantly ringing. The staff was constantly coming in my office to ask something. Patients were complaining that I needed to tend to. The doctor was running in there every 10 minutes. And so for me, I never once had an opportunity for a 10-minute break. It is so vital and it makes such a big difference. And I can say that now, after so many years of just working for myself, getting away from the workspace completely and doing something else. I don't care if it's going outside to take a 10-minute walk. I don't care if, like for me, for example, I'll go downstairs and I'll make some tea and I'll kiss on my dogs and things like that. Getting away from that work environment as best as you can, right? It's different if you're clocked in somewhere, but doing what you can to get out of that mode real quick, have 10 minutes to yourself and then go back to it makes a vital difference.
Yeah, being able to, like, for me, I like to just be outside. I go outside and just recharge in the sun and take that time not to have to worry about anything. And it could be something, like Ashley said, it is something that's filling up your water and getting some coffee or some tea and just using that time just to take that deep breath and almost like having that creates that separation for you.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.